I'm Dana Whitlow, 38, single mom, full-time accountant, part-time miracle worker. If you count keeping a roof over our heads and my daughter fed as miracles. For the past 5 years, I've also been the silent business partner. Scratch that legal backbone. Behind my sister Lana Kessler's luxury spa here in Charleston. You wouldn't know it by looking at her Instagram. No one there sees me. They see Lana with her perfect hair and her ocean-themed product lines. The polished signs with her name in scripted gold. Lana Kessler Wellness. Nothing about Whitlow or about the woman who actually signed the lease did the books, built the credit line under her own name when Lana's got denied. Nothing about the woman who covered 3 months' rent when her influencer brand hit a slow season. That woman is me. My daughter Sadie is 11. She thinks her aunt walks on water. And I haven't had the heart to tell her otherwise. She's too young to understand that sometimes people you love will step on you just to reach higher. I was raised to believe family helps family, that you don't let your sister drown, even if she's the one who jumped off the boat in the first place. So when Lana came to me 5 years ago with a big vision, I didn't hesitate. Back then, she was just a licensed esthetician renting a single chair at a dying salon, talking about clean branding and owning her own space. She had charm, sure, and a gift for talking herself into opportunities. But no credit, no savings, and no real plan for the back end. That's where I came in. I gave her my nights after work. I filed her LLC paperwork. I restructured her taxes. I built her QuickBooks from scratch. I didn't ask for a cut. I figured when she made it big, she'd circle back. That's what sisters do, right? Turns out, some sisters just keep circling the drain, and they'll drag you with them if you're not careful. It started with little things. Can I borrow your business card for a client dinner? I'll Venmo you back for the salon towels. I just need to restock before payday. I can't switch the lease into my name until I build more credit, just a few more months. That was 3 years ago. Last spring, I had to pull Sadie out of her dance camp because I didn't have the extra $400. That same week, Lana posted a story from a rooftop brunch in Savannah. Caption, "Self-care isn't selfish." The thing is, I still didn't say a word. I told myself, she's just building her brand. Things will settle soon. And then last month, Lana called me, her voice chipper in that fake customer service tone she uses when she's about to drop something awful. "Hey, sis. So, I've got this amazing launch party coming up for our new skincare line. Local press, champagne cart, influencers. You know the vibe." I smiled. Sounds great. What can I do to help? Silence. Well, actually, I wanted to ask if maybe, for this one, you could, sit it out? It's just that the branding is super curated and we're really trying to attract a certain aesthetic this time. I blinked. What aesthetic is that? Her tone sharpened just slightly. Dana, come on. You don't wear makeup. You show up in cardigans. It's not on brand. And bringing Sadie? I mean, this is a 21-plus crowd. Press events aren't really for kids. I said nothing, just stared at the cracked tile in my kitchen. She went on, like she hadn't just slapped me across the face with a smile on. You know I love you, but this is business. You're more the backbone. That's important too. Backbone. I ended the call, tucked my phone into the fruit bowl, and sat down on the floor next to Sadie's backpack. Her science fair ribbon was still pinned to the front pocket. Blue, first place. Lana hadn't even sent a text. That night, I opened my files. The ones with my name on the business license. The ones with the EIN tied to my social security number. And then I logged into the SBA loan portal. There it was. A $42,000 PPP loan taken out under my credentials during COVID. No repayment history, no communication. And I had never authorized it. I sat in the dark for a long time. And for the first time in 5 years, I wasn't tired. I was angry. I wasn't just going to sit it out. I was done sitting quietly altogether. Because when someone builds a kingdom on your back, you have every right to take your name off the deed. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my tiny kitchen table with my laptop open, one hand gripping a lukewarm cup of coffee I'd reheated 3 times, staring at the screen like it might change. But the numbers didn't lie. A 42,000 PPP loan processed under my name, my address, my social security number, filed in 2020, marked forgiven in full. That meant the loan had gone through, been used, and then cleared, all without my knowledge. I opened another tab and pulled up my old tax folders. In the middle of all those spreadsheets and invoices, I found a 1099 form addressed to me, from Lana Kessler Wellness. The return address? The spa I helped her lease under my name. She listed me as a contractor for services she never paid me for, which meant she'd created a paper trail that made it look like she'd paid me a salary, so the loan would appear legitimate. I just sat there, frozen. Not with rage, not yet. Just this weird, cold ache in my chest, like the air had been pulled out of the room. She hadn't just taken my help. She had forged my involvement, cashed in on my identity, and left me legally responsible for something that could ruin me. And then, just to top it all off, she told me I wasn't on brand. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I called out sick for the first time in years and drove straight to the office of a tax attorney my boss had once recommended. I didn't have an appointment, and I looked like hell. No makeup, oversized hoodie, second-day hair, and a claw clip. The receptionist gave me a polite side-eye until I slid the manila folder across the desk and said, "I think someone used my identity to steal from the government." That got me in fast. The attorney, Ms. Patel, was sharp and efficient. She skimmed the papers for less than 10 minutes before nodding slowly. "This isn't a gray area," she said. "This is fraud. And if your name's on it, and the IRS decides to look deeper, you're the one they'll come after first." I felt my throat tighten. But I didn't sign anything. I didn't even know. She leaned forward. "It doesn't matter. Not yet. But if you let this sit and it unravels later, you'll be the one on the hook." I asked her what my options were. She gave me 3. 1, report Lana to the SBA and IRS, file an identity theft affidavit, and protect myself legally. 2, confront her directly and give her a chance to come clean? Risky. 3, do nothing and hope it stays buried. We both knew that third option was off the table. I needed time to think. That night, I told Sadie we were ordering pizza and having a movie night. She was thrilled. I was just trying not to fall apart in front of my kid. Halfway through The Princess Bride, she looked over and said, "Mom? Why do you look sad? Did Aunt Lana say something mean again?" I smiled, sort of. "No, honey. She didn't say anything. This time she just forgot who helped her get where she is." Sadie thought about that. "You should remind her." Out of the mouths of kids. The next day, I pulled out my copy of the original business registration papers. My name, not Lana's, was on every legal line. I'd done everything right. She just never let go. Then I remembered something else, something that made my stomach drop. The lease agreement. Lana had never officially transferred the business to her name, which meant, technically, I still owned the building. I scrambled to find the lease. There it was. My signature, my EIN, my address as the legal point of contact. 5 years old, never updated. Lana had built her whole brand inside a space she didn't even legally control, and I had the papers to prove it. That night, I didn't sleep either, but this time I wasn't panicking. I was planning. I pulled out a legal pad and started drafting a list. File IRS affidavit checkmark. Talk to a journalist I knew from a local finance panel checkmark, call the property manager, and request official audit on lease terms checkmark. By the time the sun rose, I had something I hadn't felt in years. Leverage. I was done hiding in the background of her story. She wanted to play personal brand? Fine. I was about to remind her that the brand was built on my name. I didn't walk into that spa. I marched. 2 weeks after discovering the lease was still in my name, And after quietly filing every protective legal document Ms. Patel suggested, I stood across the street from Lana Kessler Wellness, watching my sister's empire glow in its usual haze of gold accents, eucalyptus scent, and curated perfection. Lana had no idea what was coming. But the building did, and so did the law. I'd scheduled the audit for a Monday. Not just any Monday, the launch day of her new product line, which she'd been hyping online like it was the second coming of Christ in serum form. She had influencers flying in from Atlanta, Charlotte, and even a lifestyle blogger from New York. The timing wasn't petty. It was necessary. If I'd waited another week, I'd be outside the statute to file a specific fraud form tied to the PPP loan. This wasn't revenge. It was math. Still, as I crossed the street with my folder tucked under my arm, I won't lie. I felt something more than duty. I felt years of swallowed pride rising in my throat. The receptionist blinked when she saw me. Ms. Whitlow? Did Lana know you were stopping by? Doesn't matter, I said gently. This is business. She hesitated, clearly unsure what to do with me. I wasn't on the guest list, and I wasn't wearing heels or carrying a ring light. But just as she picked up the phone to call Lana, the door to the back opened. And there she was, Lana, in a sleek white jumpsuit, dripping in gold jewelry and fake warmth. Dana, she said, all sugary condescension. You're here? For the open house? I thought I told you it wasn't really your scene. I smiled, but not with my eyes. I'm not here for champagne and sheet masks. I'm here for the lease. Something in her face flickered. I don't know what you mean, she said too quickly. I do, so do the lawyers, and so will the SBA once they review the loan you fraudulently took out using my name. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. That was the moment it clicked for her, that I knew everything. She laughed. I swear, she actually laughed. Oh, come on, Dana. You're really gonna pull the victim card? You've benefited too. I gave you visibility. You gave me liability. I snapped, cutting her off. I'm one audit away from being investigated for felony fraud, because while I was scraping together money for Sadie's school clothes, you were throwing spa weekends for bloggers who don't know your real last name. Around us, a few guests had started paying attention. Good. Lana dropped her voice. You're gonna ruin me, in front of everyone. No, I said. You did that yourself. I'm just turning the lights on. Before she could respond, the property manager walked in, flanked by a uniformed city compliance officer and a fire marshal. That's when Lana really started panicking. What is this? She hissed. Are you reporting me? Dana, you can't do this. I have press coming in 30 minutes. I stepped aside and let them explain. Failure to update lease documents, potential code violations, occupancy review pending. The officer handed her a clipboard, and I watched Lana's hands tremble for the first time I could remember. This wasn't petty. This was procedure. As I turned to leave, I heard her behind me, still pleading. You'll destroy everything I've built, she cried. I stopped at the door and looked back. You built it on my name, Lana. And my silence. I'm just taking both back. I pushed open the glass door and stepped into the sun, chest burning, stomach turning, adrenaline peaking so hard I thought I might collapse. But I didn't. I walked away. For the first time in years, I wasn't a shadow behind my sister's spotlight. I was the one flipping the switch. But it wasn't over. Because that night, after I got home, after Sadie had gone to bed and the house had finally gone quiet, I got an email from a blocked address. Subject line, you should have kept your mouth shut. Let's see how the IRS likes what you forgot to file. I froze. And that's when I realized Lana wasn't just selfish. She was dangerous. That email sat in my inbox like a live grenade. You should have kept your mouth shut. Let's see how the IRS likes what you forgot to file. No name, no return address, but I knew exactly who sent it. Lana was cornered. And like any cornered animal, she'd gone from begging to biting. Only this time she was aiming at my livelihood, my reputation, my freedom. I didn't panic. I almost did. But instead, I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out every return I'd filed in the last 5 years. I checked every line, every signature, every 1099 and Schedule C. I didn't find a mistake. Not a single number off. But I knew Lana. She didn't need the truth on her side. She just needed noise. So I made a choice. I stopped reacting in silence. I got proactive. The next morning, I called Ms. Patel and forwarded the email. She responded within 15 minutes, already drafting a protective affidavit and helping me request an identity protection PIN from the IRS. I contacted the compliance officer who had visited the spa, gave him the loan details, the lease discrepancies, the email threat. He said he'd loop in a federal fraud investigator. Then I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I made it public. Not flashy. No smear campaign. Just the facts. I posted a carefully worded message in a Charleston small business Facebook group Lana belonged to. The same group she used to humble brag her brand story. I said, "For anyone working with Lana Kessler Wellness, please be advised the business is currently under federal review for identity misuse and financial misconduct involving SBA loans. As the legal leaseholder and listed contractor on multiple filings I never signed, I've taken the appropriate legal steps to protect myself and my family. Documentation available upon request." Simple, cold, factual, and it blew up. I didn't comment further. I didn't answer private messages. I let the post breathe. By noon, her brand account had gone private. By 3 p.m., 3 vendors had pulled out of her upcoming event. By dinner time, someone had leaked screenshots of our email exchange and Lana's influencer group chat, where she called me the frumpy accountant with a martyr complex. But I wasn't trying to cancel her. I was just done protecting her. 2 days later, I got a call from a journalist. A woman I knew vaguely. She used to cover real estate, now did pieces on women in business. She'd seen the Facebook post. "Would you be willing to speak on the record?" she asked. "I'm not looking for drama," I said. "I just want to stop being erased." She paused, then said, "That is the story." I agreed to meet. The article came out a week later. Title, "The Invisible Partner: What Happens When the Woman Behind the Business Gets Burned." It didn't attack Lana. It didn't make me a saint. But it laid it all out. How many women are pressured to give and disappear behind someone else's ambition. How legal ownership means nothing when someone weaponizes charm and entitlement. The day it published, I stayed offline. Took Sadie to the beach instead. We built a lopsided sandcastle and let the tide take it apart. I watched her laugh, and I realized I hadn't felt this light in years. And then came the twist I never saw coming. That night, I checked my mail. There was a thick manila envelope waiting for me. No return address, but hand-delivered. Inside, a copy of a second PPP loan. Filed the same year, same spa, same address. But not in my name. It was in Sadie's. My 11-year-old daughter's social security number had been used. And the account? Opened using an email I'd helped Lana set up for Sadie when she was 8, just to download a school app. My hands shook. This wasn't just betrayal. This was criminal. Lana had stolen from her niece. From a child. I dropped the envelope. My vision blurred. Whatever line I thought Lana wouldn't cross, she'd sprinted over it. I picked up my phone, heart pounding, and made the one call I never thought I'd have to make. "Hello, this is Dana Whitlow. I need to report federal identity theft involving a minor. Yes, I have proof. And yes, I'm pressing charges." When I found that second PPP loan in Sadie's name, something in me went still. Not broken. Still. Like the air before a tornado touches ground. I sat on the kitchen floor with the envelope spread across my lap, and I just breathed. Long and deep, like I was trying to keep my pulse from crawling out of my chest. This wasn't just fraud anymore. This was my child. Sadie had trusted Lana in the way only kids can trust adults they think are magical. She'd made her aunt birthday cards, FaceTimed her with school news, even saved a spot for her at her last science fair. And Lana used her social security number to commit federal loan fraud. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I called the fraud division of the U.S. Treasury. By the end of that week, I'd handed over every document, every login trail, every email. I filed a full affidavit of identity theft on Sadie's behalf. I spoke with a federal agent who didn't mince words. She'll be looking at real time if this holds up, especially with a minor involved. Good. That Saturday, I sat down with Sadie. I told her the truth, in pieces she could handle. She looked confused at first, then scared, then quiet. "Did I do something wrong?" she whispered. "No, baby. You didn't do anything. Someone else did something very wrong, and I'm making sure it's fixed." She nodded. "Is she going to jail?" I paused. "Maybe." She bit her lip, then said softly, "I think that's fair." Out of the mouths of children. 3 months later, Lana was indicted on multiple counts of federal loan fraud and aggravated identity theft. Her mugshot hit the local news. A glossy headshot it wasn't. The article detailed everything: how she'd taken out 2 loans, forged financial records, and used her underage niece's personal data to secure tens of thousands in relief funds, all while flaunting a luxury life online. Vendors dropped her. Her landlord filed for eviction. And the influencer community that once adored her? Silent. When I heard her lawyer was trying to negotiate a plea deal, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. But it was the kind of tired that comes after a fight. The good kind. The kind where you finally know you're safe. I didn't attend her arraignment. I didn't need to watch the fall. I'd already lived through the climb, carrying her on my back. What mattered was that Sadie's name was cleared, that my credit was safe, that the weight was no longer mine to hold. And Lana, she got 15 months federal plus restitution. Turns out when you borrow time and lies and money, someone always comes to collect. These days I work fewer hours. I finally opened the small consulting business I used to dream about. Just a home office and a handful of steady clients. But it's mine. Fully mine. No shadows, no secrets. Sadie's thriving. She plays piano now, and last week she told me, "I think I want to run a business someday. But honestly." I smiled and said, "That's the best kind there is. Loyalty means nothing if it only flows one way. And love without boundaries? That's not noble. It's self-destruction dressed in forgiveness. You don't owe anyone your silence, especially not the ones who weaponize it. If you've ever had to cut ties with someone you love for your own peace, especially when no one else saw the damage, I'd be honored if you shared your story in the comments. And if this one spoke to you, stick around. There's more truth where this came from. Thanks for listening. I'm Dana Whitlow, and I'm finally standing in my own name.